With the application running, I'm going to make my browser window as narrow as possible because I want to have the browser window and Visual Studio on screen at the same time. And I just want to point out that we have a responsive design, because when the viewport becomes this narrow, the menu collapses into the hamburger icon here, which I can still click on to get to the menu. And this behavior is provided by Bootstrap. So in this project is Bootstrap version 3. I also want to point out that when I navigate to the different pages in this application, like the contact page or the about page, these will go to URLs like /contact and /about. And in our project, ASP.NET Core is mapping these requests to Razor pages. These pages live in the pages folder. And when I am viewing localhost sumpport /about, ASP.NET Core is rendering the about page. So Razor pages have a CSHTML extension, but that extension is not required in the URL. And like many topics in this module, we're going to come back and go into more details about Razor pages later in the course. But for right now, I just want to point out that if you have the application running without the debugger attached, you should be able to make changes in the project and just save files and come out and refresh the browser and see those changes reflected in the browser. Now, one change I want to make is to add a link into my menu to get to the restaurants that we're going to be working with in this project. And you'll notice that in the About page, there's no mention of Ode to Food, there's no menu links, so where does all this other stuff come from? Well, most of the Razor pages in this project, like About and Contact and index.cshtml, which by the way represents the home page of the application, they all plug into a special page known as a layout page. You can find this page by default in the shared folder. It has the name _layout.cshtml. We'll find out later in the course that there's a number of different special Razor pages, and most of them will be named with a leading underscore. So it is layout.cshtml that renders everything for my application that is inside of the head tag, so the links to my style sheets like Bootstrap, and also defines the opening body tag and the menu that I want to work with. So if I browse through layout.cshtml, I should come across this section, which contains some Bootstrap 3 styles to be a navigation bar, and here I can see the text Home, About, and Contact. That's exactly what appears in my menu, and that's because this is the menu for the application. If I want to add an additional item, then I can plug in another list item. Let's add an anchor tag with the text Restaurant. And you'll notice this one additional piece of information here, ASP-page. This is what's known as a tag helper in ASP.NET Core. Again, another topic that we'll go into more detail about later in the course, but for now just know that a tag helper helps me to render HTML on the server. What the ASP-page tag helper will do is set the href for my anchor tag to point to a Razor page that I have in my project. So /index goes to the index page. This is the about page, the contact page. Again, I don't have to use the .cshtml extension. Well, let's say that we are going to have a restaurants page. In fact, let's say that we're going to have an entire folder full of pages related to restaurants. And inside of that folder, I'm going to have a home view, or perhaps we can call it a list view, that will show the list of restaurants that the application knows about. And now all I need to do is save layout.cshtml, refresh my browser, and let's open up the menu, and I can see, yes, I now have a restaurants link. That restaurants link isn't going to work just yet. The next thing we have to do is actually add that Razor page.